Hello folks, my name is Rasmus Almqvist, and in my line of work I help organizations select technologies when driving for very specific business outcomes. You might remember a video that I did some time ago where I talked about the tech tsunami, the fact that we're being bombarded by different types of technologies and capabilities. And many of these capabilities are being thrown at us from different types of cloud services. And Office 365 is just one of those many technologies. And today with me I have Dr. Ingo Westner. He's a technical solution professional here at Microsoft. And we're going to talk about how Office 365 is somewhat different to the IT that is being delivered from an on-prem environment. So Ingo, let's start with the $60,000 question. How is Office 365 different than having similar products coming up from an on-prem environment?
Hey Rasmus, the main difference is that the delivery of the service now comes directly from the Microsoft data centers, and the on-premises was under your full control, or at least you thought that it was under your full control. So that's the main change, and that implies that you have to handle the service which is delivered in a different way. There is no customization anymore. That's configuring Office 365 now. But on the good side is Microsoft does all the technical work in the background, so you do not have to have too deep knowledge about how the changes are really executed in Office 365. They are delivered to you in the so-called evergreen model.
Now, this evergreen model requires you to have a slightly different approach to evaluating technologies, making decisions on, not just what to deploy, but also how you communicate with your users. And so that is something lots of organizations are struggling with when moving from on-prem to cloud. Now, lucky enough, we've developed almost like a tool, a matrix that's going to allow IT leaders to take control of this change. How does that matrix actually work?
Yeah. It works the way that you have to abandon that one point in time projects and then letting your service run for a time of several years without doing many updates, like only the security stuff, and then having the next large project, to that continuous model of working with the Microsoft information, which is on our public roadmap and from other sources available, and bring them into a matrix. Mm-hmm. The matrix has two dimensions. There will be changes coming from Microsoft which are visible only for the IT departments. So admins have to deal with it, they have to learn about it, they have to configure things. The other changes are visible by the end users. They are mostly the ones with more impact because you have a very broad end user basis. In the other dimension, you see what way Microsoft deploys those changes. That means, are these changes which are completely optional? They are turned off at the day of the release. Admins can turn them on, make it visible or not.
Yeah.
The next category of such changes are changes which are turned on by default, need to be configured, can be also removed if the organization, for example, doesn't need these features, or when the organization is not mature enough for it. The third category is the most important.
Yeah.
These are changes which Microsoft introduces and which cannot be turned off because it is necessary to have them in the evolution of our Office 365 product line. So if you put that together, you will get 6 fields, changes which are optional, only IT visible. I would say that's the green category. It's not a high priority you have to think about much. But at the other end of the spectrum, you have changes which are introduced by Microsoft and seen by end users and may cause questions or need even training for the end users. And if you filter all the roadmap information in these 6 boxes, distribute them accordingly, then you automatically get a prioritization of all these changes, and then you know what to concentrate on for the next 4 weeks or 2 months to deploy.
That's a really, really clever way of doing things, but it also poses the question of who do you need to have involved in making those decisions. Perhaps before it was just the IT department making decisions on when to roll out certain capabilities, but now you have to involve the business side of things. And so looking at good examples or best practices that you've seen in your own line of work during the years, what are the organizations that do succeed and are great at deploying Office 365? What are they doing right? Who do they actually bring to the table to make sure those things that are being decided upon using the Matrix as a tool are in fact not just deployed, but are also being used, and the capabilities are being adopted by the workforce?
The first and foremost capability of the people who are working with these changes is that they are able to communicate. Yeah. Communicate with the business stakeholders, explain where the Microsoft products are going to and how it matches to their real demands, but also to tell them what's technically possible and where there are limitations, things which are just coming later or will never be possible. And that has to be an ongoing and frequent dialogue, and not a way like the IT creates a kind of a solution package without ever talking with the business stakeholders, then pushes it out and then realizes it's getting pushed back, it's not used, and the business is going on some shadow IT services which are easier than ever to obtain, because nowadays you just need a credit card and you buy a very nice online service, and then your data and your IT is out of control.
So lots of things to think about, but the most important thing is communications. So folks, that's just a snapshot of things that we discuss with our accounts on a daily basis. If you think this was interesting, do point your browsers to Microsoft.com, look for more information. Guys, stay tuned for more videos.